Well, it's a beautiful day here in Michigan, 60 degrees, and it's the end of February. So we're going to do some spring cleanup. Welcome to Gardening with Granny. Cutting off any damaged grapes. I want to leave 2 on each leader because these will go 6-7 feet. They'll climb right up into the apple tree. So I'm trying to be aware of anything heading that way. I don't want them. I want them heading this way so I can have them go on the arbor. Well, this one has a bunch of them on it. I'm going to cut it right here. And a lot of them are tangled from these little things. I don't want them coming out at me, so those can come off too. This one is kind of coming out, but I can train it to head in. Now each one of these little buds will swell and grapes will come from them. So I'm just going to cut it right here. So I have 3 possible places where the leaves and grapes will come from. I can trim in the springtime once I see what is actually, if the flowers are actually coming from which part. So some of these grapes are, they're older than the house, but they were older than we've been in the house, but they were put here, would you say, honey, 25 years ago? We've had it a long, long time. That one's definitely heading in this direction. And I'm just going to continue on cleaning these, and I'll show you what they look like when I'm all done. Well, we've finished cleaning up, and I thought that since it's such a beautiful day that we would do a end of February tour. So my husband laughed and said that the forks are doing really well, but I found some chipmunk digging in here, and this is where I have some spring bulbs coming up. You might see the tops there. So we have some tulips and daffodils, and that should be really pretty in about 3 weeks. Over here where the ferns are, you can see that we have some tulips coming up and some daffodils poking through. And this should be pretty exciting in this should be about 2 weeks, I would say. We cleaned up the hellebores, and you can see the beautiful dark blooms there. These are a little lighter in the purple range. Some baby ones, I don't know if they're going to bloom this year. And these, the blooms are way in there, but they are there. And some more here. So these should be really pretty in the not too distant future. And finally, you can see we finally got all the apples cleaned up, but that's sort of like the kitchen, because we still have a few left up in that tree that'll come down. So I want to scan over this way, not too quickly, but you can see my primrose are coming through and blooming. Absolutely love these primrose. They come back every single year. And sometimes they're pushing through the snow. And they're so pretty. Such brilliant colors. Around the bend here I cleared up the peonies. And you can see them poking through. I believe these are the Shirley Temple. This still needs to be cleaned up. These are the hydrangea we got free 2 years ago from the Proven Winners 2022, 2 years ago. Yeah, and these mums need to be cut back so the fresh ones can come through. This is our Chinese lacy maples. There's a red one and a green one. And you can just see that the buds are starting to swell ever so slightly. Oh, I missed the grapes. I have to go back over here. I told you I would show you them after I got through pruning them. Still some areas that need cleanup, but that's what they look like. And I'll probably do a little more pruning on them, but what I like to do is wait until the buds swell a little bit more so I have more information. But what's really interesting is this old stem. This is the old branch. There's been woodpeckers pecking on that, but it's still alive. This whole area was full of grapes last year. We made some wonderful grape jelly. In fact, I still have some grape juice in the freezer. So we'll head over here to the herb garden, my huge juniper. And see the lovely berries. A bit breezy. I think my hollyhock has made it through the winter in its pot. Those are the elephant garlic poking through. This bed is in need of help. Yeah, that's my next chore, is taking care of this buddleia, getting rid of some of the old stuff. Lots growing underneath all of this mess. Some daisies, can still see the greenery. And there's our sage. And I want to cut that back down so that it doesn't get real woody. Now, most of the beds are still asleep. This is where the annuals grow. But I have garlic growing in one of these. I think it was this one. Not poking through yet, and that's okay. It's still just February. Our berry patch here. Nothing much showing on the goji. Hopefully it'll survive, but there are some buds coming on this elderberry, which is exciting. This is the black lace elderberry, and looks like we're getting some swollen buds on this one. And then the elderberry standard, which I'm going to have to really keep watch on because this thing's going to get huge if I don't. But it's showing signs of life already. And these are hibiscus, and they won't show up until June, maybe. These are the forsythia, and it looks like we're getting some just faint spring action here. I probably could pick a couple of these and force them to bloom in the house. Maybe I'll come back and do that tomorrow. And here's our entrance mound. Got some spring blooms in here that are showing some signs of popping through. That should be lovely in a few weeks. And here's our bird garden. Some iris, still nice and green, coming up, poking up through. That should be a lovely patch. Got some new ones here. We'll see if they make it through. Not much else happening. Need to do some repair work. And need to cut down the grasses. That doesn't usually take much. We hired somebody to come in and clean up the lilac. There was some wild tree coming through that. Now that it's got more light, it should do much better this coming spring and summer. Right now there's no signs of budding, but I think it will be beautiful. I think we've lost our cherry tree for good. It gave us wonderful cherries last year, and then during the summer when we had that drought area, it was too much for it. So I don't see any signs of budding out or life. So unfortunately this may be coming down, but it provides opportunity in this area. This is a nice sunny area. We have underground sprinkling system now that it's functioning again. Check out this old apple tree. We did get some apples off of this, but not as wonderful as the one by the house. Yeah, Don't see any signs of budding out or anything. Well, maybe. Who knows? But it's still exciting. Today was a glorious day. Accomplished a lot with the getting the apples picked up, cleaned out, got some of the beds cleaned out, grapes trimmed. So spring is in the air. It's always nice to see this window. And this was a success this winter that I was able to get that rosemary to overwinter. I don't know if you can see that. Such a pretty color on that geranium. So that's it for now. I'm hoping that you have an enjoyable February, the end of February and the beginning of March. Looks like March is coming in like a, well, not like a lion, that's for sure, like a lamb. So we probably will have some more winter weather.